Hello and welcome to Stories Behind the Songs. I'm your host, Jim Tompkins. In each episode, I uncover the fascinating backstories behind iconic rock and pop tracks. Today's song is More, More, More by the Andrea True Connection. More, More, More is a one-of-a-kind song, a big hit in the disco era and a song with a hard-to-believe story. It was a completely unlikely hit, a true example of catching lightning in a bottle. Its singer, Andrea True, then tried in vain to shed the image from her very interesting previous life, and finally, the song shows how it's possible for someone to completely remake themselves, even if it was only a temporary transition. So let's delve into this fascinating story now. The tale starts with Andrea Marie Truden, born in Nashville, Tennessee in 1943. Growing up, she studied classical piano and attended a school run by nuns. In college, she studied music theory at the George Peabody College at Vanderbilt University. With aspirations of becoming a film star, she then moved to New York City. For a few years, she modeled, taught music theory, and wrote television commercials. In 1971, during a recession in the U.S., Andrea found herself struggling to find work. Someone suggested they make a movie, so she did. But this was no ordinary film, it was a pornographic film. And that's how her career in adult films got started. From that point to 1975, she starred in dozens of porn films, including Head Nurse, Deep Throat 2, The Seduction of Lynn Carter, and Every Inch a Lady. During this time, she wasn't exclusively in adult films. She also landed a job as an extra in the 1973 Redford Streisand classic, The Way We Were. Then in 1975, she directed her first adult film, Once Over Nightly. But it's around this time that she starts setting her eyes on getting out of the industry. In one interview, she said, "I'd rather be a waitress or a typist than make another adult film." Prior to this, in 1974, a guy named Greg Diamond enters the story. Greg Diamond was a musician, songwriter, and producer. One afternoon, with his brother Godfrey and a couple of other musicians, they'd come up with this catchy dance song. They tried having different people sing on it, but nothing hit, and they really just didn't know what to do with the song. As we'll see, this will play heavily into the lightning bolt that was about to hit for he and Andrea True. It's now 1975. Andrea True has been doing porn for several years but is looking for a way out. She's hired by a real estate company to do a commercial in Jamaica. As she's working there, political activities are brewing which will wind up impacting her story in a critical way. In Jamaica, Michael Manley has been elected Prime Minister. Michael Manley was a big supporter of Fidel Castro, who of course was persona non grata #1 to the United States. As a result, the U.S. imposes a bunch of sanctions on Jamaica. In response to this, the Jamaican government bans asset transfers by U.S. citizens out of Jamaica. Andrea True had completed her work, had a pile of cash, but now can't get it out of the country. She has a dilemma. Either forfeit her pay or spend the money before she goes home. Her response? I'll use the money in Jamaica to rent a studio and record some music, which is where Greg Diamond re-enters. Andrea had been friends with Greg back in New York, so she calls him up and asks him to come down to Jamaica to help her record some music. Diamond and his brother Godfrey head to Jamaica to work with Andrea. In the studio, they use the song they'd written the year before, but there is a problem. Andrea True's vocals. They're not very good. But they solve that problem in a couple of ways. First, by using studio tactics like tape delay and reverb. And secondly, by encouraging Andrea to sing in a breathy, sexy way. According to Godfrey Diamond, they had her sing over a dozen takes to get the vocal as good as possible. As for the lyrics, it's not clear who wrote them. Greg Diamond says he wrote the lyrics, but Andrea True says she did. What's clear is the lyrics appear to be referencing the life of a porn star. The song seems to be about a porn actress who is falling for her on-screen partner. Or, as Andrea True hinted, it's more about the fakery of the porn scenes and she's singing sarcastically about how wonderful it all is. That's the take on it that seems the most likely to me. For the music side of it, Greg Diamond recruited various musicians from Jamaica, including the horn section for Caribbean singer The Mighty Sparrow, who was known as the Calypso King of the world. And out of that work came this demo. This This initial version of More, More, More was first released in Jamaica by Federal Records, the first recording studio in Jamaica, in 1975. Apparently, after True and Diamond ran out of money and were unable to pay the session musicians, they had to hand over the music. They then took the song to New York and shopped it around to all the major record labels, and every one of them proceeded to pass on it. Then there was Buddha Records, which was an interesting label. Buddha Records was formed in the 1960s with their initial foray in bubblegum pop. One of their silent partners was Sonny Franzesi, the underboss of the Colombo crime family, who reputedly used the label to launder illegal mob earnings. Buddha Records had a habit of letting acts get shopped around to all the major labels, and when all of them passed, they would step in. And that's exactly what happened with More, More, More. The song was already being played in dance clubs and was very popular in the New York area. They then handed the song to a guy named Tom Moulton, who was a master mixer of the disco era. He would go on to work with Gloria Gaynor and mix classic disco songs like Disco Inferno by the Tramps. What Tom Moulton did with More, More, More was to turn a good song into a great song. Here's the original version as done by Greg and Godfrey Diamond and Andrea True. And here is what it sounded like after the Tom Moulton mix. It was a master performance by a master mixer. The song enters the charts in 1976 and slowly creeps up the charts. It rises all the way to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. It tops the dance chart and also goes to number 1 in Canada and top 10 in a number of countries, including England and Germany. Andrea True reveled in the newfound fame she gained outside of the porn industry. She put together a band, complete with a horn section and dancers, and went on tour. In the entertainment industry, she'd done the near impossible, the thing that so many other porn stars were unable to do, achieve stardom outside of adult films. All the same, it was difficult for her to shed her former vocation. In interviews from the era, she was reluctant to talk about it and really wanted to emphasize the now versus the past. But DJs loved to introduce More, More, More by mentioning her adult film career, and it was always the first topic interviewers wanted to talk about. And then, like so many other artists through the ages who scored with a surprise hit song, this newfound fame was short-lived. She recorded more music and did manage to land one other top 40 hit, but that would be it. The fade was fast. After that, she briefly tried to re-enter adult films, but by then she was nearly 40 and that ship had sailed. But we shouldn't lose sight that Andrea True did the unthinkable. She was able to find fame after her porn career, had one of the unlikeliest hits of the disco era, and had her brief flirtation as a pop star. Here are some other interesting facts about More, More, More by Andrea True. When More, More, More first broke into the Hot 100, Greg Diamond and his brother both thought they had hit the big time, and that it would never get any better than this. Then the song just kept creeping up, breaking into the top 40, then the top 20, and finally all the way to number 4 in the U.S. In early 1977, Andrea released the single New York, You Got Me Dancing. The song reached number 27 on Billboard's pop chart and number 4 on the disco dance chart. This was really her only successful song besides More, More, More. In 1999, the Canadian group Len sampled the instrumental break from More, More, More in their single, Steal My Sunshine. I was lying on the grass on Sunday morning. The inspiration came when Mark Costanzo of Len was at the house of Brendan Canning of Broken Social Scene after attending a rave. There he heard More, More, More and decided to sample the instrumental break. The song was a top 10 hit in the U.S. and brought renewed interest to Andrea True. The only person credited as the writer of More, More, More is Greg Diamond, omitting his brother Godfrey, who had helped him with the song, and also Andrea True, who says she wrote the lyrics. Godfrey explained, "Unfortunately, I love my brother very much, but he just wasn't so big with sharing credit, which eventually led to me not working with him anymore." Godfrey also said that Luther Vandross helped out on the record. They'd met him in Jamaica during the recording sessions, and he contributed to the music and lyrics. But once again, Greg Diamond did not give any credits. Tom Moulton mixed More, 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 although he knew nothing of the story behind it. There was one odd thing about the lyrics. He didn't understand what the line, "get the cameras rolling, get the action going," meant. When he met Andrea True, he asks her about that, and she tells him about her background in pretty graphic terms, which one can assume must have been quite the shock to Mr. Moulton. That wraps up the story of More by the Andrea True Connection. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back soon with another story behind a great rock and roll song.